right. I voted for the temporary one-penny sales tax in 2003 under the new legislature because that was the plan to try to balance our budget. In the state of Ohio, constitutionally, we have to have budget balance at June 30th of every year, unlike the federal government. And that was the plan to get there. I was very concerned about that, and I worked really hard since then to cut taxes. I helped co-draft the largest tax cut in Ohio's history, and I repealed two very burdensome job-killing taxes, the tangible personal property tax and the corporate franchise tax here in Ohio. So my tax record, I think, is sound and strong, but we had to balance the budget, and that's how that was done. And I was fighting hard for more cuts. I think it's it's really time to talk about where we're moving. Okay, I got to sit down. But I hope there's some more questions about taxes.
These are a couple questions that came from the audience. They're actually two separate questions, but I'm going to combine them because they kind of go both ways. Addressed to Senator Gibbs, Republican Minority Leader John Boner has indicated his support for raising the minimum age to 70 in regard to Social Security benefits and also to have a means testing. The question was, do you agree with that concept? And then the second question was, this is for both candidates, but I'm sure you'll address both. If elected in November, who would you support for Speaker of the House?
I think John Boehner is showing leadership to say that we've got to have a serious discussion, like I said, with the American people about the entitlement programs and how to make them actuarially sound. Because the path we're on, there's not going to be any programs. We've got to fix it. And I think for somebody, our younger folks in their 20s and 30s, to think that they're going to be the retirement age is going to be moved up, I think they expect that. We're living longer. Our life expectancies are going up. And you just can't have an actually sound system if you don't make these changes, or you're not going to have a system at all. And I think he's showing leadership, unlike some of the lack of leadership we're seeing in the Congress right now. Just not addressing these issues that need to be addressed and no one put them on. And I think it was interesting when the Congress talked about that cap and trade is not law, healthcare, he did not vote for it. Well, just hold on to your seats for lame duck session, because I think they're going to see a big push to pass cap and trade. And he did vote for it in the House. So to say he's not going to vote for it now, maybe he's going to flip-flop on that again. I don't know. He did on the health care. Just a couple weeks ago, there was a Republican amendment to recommit on that issue, and I think 20 or so Democrats sided with the Republican side of the aisle. He did not, so he flip-flopped again. He voted against the final version, not to recommit on the bill. So I think, and your question about who I support for Speaker, I'd be proud to support John Boehner, Speaker from Ohio. John Boehner has been fiscally responsible. He had a primary election this last spring because there was a Republican out there, by name I guess, that was mad because John Boehner hasn't brought any pork barrel spending back to the district. So we need people in leadership that aren't going to fly across the country in U.S. Air Force jets and run up bills for taxpayers, and be fiscally responsible and have ran a business and know what it's run a business and pay employees and what it takes to get this country moving again. And so I'm proud to cast my vote for John Boehner as the next Speaker when we take majority over in January.
In answer to the first, or response to the first part of the question having to do with Social Security, I oppose efforts to raise the retirement age and certainly oppose efforts to impose means testing, which is what Minority Leader Boehner suggested a couple of weeks ago. But it doesn't stop there. He's also advocated very strongly for privatization of Social Security in the past, which is what we can expect if John Boehner is Speaker of the House. And perhaps you can imagine the condition that our seniors would be in today had Mr. Boehner had his way several years ago and had been able to privatize Social Security with what's happening in the market, which again was a response to his own policies. John Boehner also has referenced efforts to rein in Wall Street as killing an ant with an atomic bomb. I'm not sure precisely what he meant by that, but using the reference of an ant, I can only assume that he meant that he feels the Wall Street problem was de minimis or of little substance. So the prospect of Speaker Boehner is not something that I think I look forward to. And finally, I'll add that these references about the importance of fiscal responsibility that I hear coming out of the mouths of folks who are seeking election to the House. I mean, we all believe in fiscal responsibility, but look at what happened when Speaker Boehner and or Leader Boehner and his people controlled the House after Bill Clinton left the White House. They had the president and both houses of Congress, and they tripled our national debt. I didn't hear cries of outrage from the people who are now so offended by deficit spending. Again, it's a problem. I understand that. I want to work to correct it, but let's be honest. Both parties have been guilty of fiscal irresponsibility over the years, and John Boehner has played a very significant role in that fiscal irresponsibility. As for the second question, I don't know who's going to be running for the Speaker of the House. There's talk that Speaker Pelosi may not even seek re-election, so it's just absolutely premature. And if she is, she may be opposed. So it's absolutely premature and inappropriate for me to speculate as to who I would vote for in the event that I'm returned to Congress.
Another question from the audience. The basis of most things, issues in our country, flows around education. What is your stance on education reform? Do you side with the teachers' union and want to end No Child Left Behind, or do you support Secretary Duncan